Aloha, everyone. Can you hear me? Awesome. Awesome. Aloha. And thank you all. Welcome to WMTA Candidates Night in the new normal, or the beginning of what is going to be, I guess, the new normal. For over 30 years, we've been holding Candidates Night at the West Maui location of the Lahaina Civic Center in person, having between 200 and 300 people there. And great time, party, lots of food, and everybody's had a wonderful time. And today, no food. Sorry about that. We can't serve the great food we always had. And it's a little bit more complicated, but technology is an awesome thing where I think we're all learning, and it's working out. Hopefully it's going to be a great webinar today. I'm looking forward to it. And in order to make sure that we have that extra help, to see that things are going to work fine, I've asked Pastor Lucky Ka'ahumanu and Pastor Matthew Kaheliaho to give us an opening pule. So without further ado, let's start with our pule kako.
Pule kako.
Most gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this forum tonight, Lord Jesus. Father, I pray for every candidate that is in the house tonight, Lord, to answer questions from the public, Lord. Father, Lord, I pray that you deal with each and every one of them, and that their answers, Lord, will be what people want to hear and what they plan to do this election, Lord. Bless them all, Lord, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Lucky and Pastor Matthew. Well, you know, with God, all things are possible. So, and it's always to tune in and ask for his blessings. And I want to ask that blessing included all the candidates that are courageous enough to put themselves in public service. Thank you, all you candidates for participating. God bless you, and all those that are watching. I welcome all those that are watching. This is the first time we've ever done a webinar situation like this. And in order to see that it would work more smoothly and with less problems, we've asked Akaku's offices. Akaku Community TV has been very gracious and generous by providing the use of their facilities here in their headquarters in Kahului. And we're hardwired, and we've tested things, and so far it looks like things are going to work. And I sure hope so. I know that everyone's been participating in a lot of webinars and a lot of things, and we don't want this we have a lot of agenda. We were running how to do this for the first time, and in what order would we do it, and how many questions could we ask, and so forth and so on. And because the amount of people we have participating, we've got the entire county council, we got all of OHA, and one state race. I didn't see that Angus McKelvey signed on. Did he sign on?
He's here.
I'm here.
Oh, he's there. Oh, good.
Quietly listening.
Thank you. All right, so then that was my own one question. We have three candidates have let us know that they can't participate today. Alice Lee, Maui council member, couldn't participate today. Keone Souza, OHA large trustee, said he also had a problem and couldn't, and Keola Lindsay, an OHA candidate for Hawaii district trustee. But aside from that, everyone who's on the ballot for West Maui is included in the race. We have the state contests of District 10, the OHA offices of Hawaiian Affairs, and the County of Maui councils. And we're going in order that is printed on the ballot. So as the ballot is printed from top to bottom, that's the order we're proceeding in. And because of the amount of people we've got on and the number of races, we had to pare down the amount of questions and back and forth that can happen. So we have certain rules that we ask everybody to abide by. We'll be asking a question in the order that's presented on the ballot, starting with the state races. And then for the first question, which is everybody's going to have the same exact first question. And the first question will be to every candidate, what makes you unique and why should voters choose you in this election? And you'll have 3 minutes to respond to that question. That's the same question that every candidate will have, starting with the state race and in the order that's on there. Then you'll have 3 minutes to respond. Now, if you 20 seconds into the end of that 3 minutes, our timekeeper, Vanessa Pacheco, will come on and say 20 seconds. And you'll have 20 seconds to complete your response. And if you're still talking at the end of that 20 seconds, you'll be muted by the timekeeper. So no one will be able to hear you. So, you'll be talking to no one. Please see if you can cooperate and make that happen. And then we will ask each candidate in the same order that we're asking to, based upon the ballot order, to ask the people who are running in opposition to them in the same race a question. And they got up to only 1 minute to ask that question maximum. And then that person will have up to 2 minutes to respond. And that's going to be the situation as we go through the whole thing. And based upon our timing, that's going to put us into a couple hours, and that's more than we want to keep people on Zoom. And we appreciate their time. We're trying to make this efficient in everybody's best interest. I know that some people haven't had an opportunity to see some of the candidates and know who they're talking about. And for some reason, OHA has been left out of a lot of different forums. So we're delighted to have OHA included in this forum as well. And everybody, while it's a smaller amount of discussions and dialogue that we would prefer and like to have, it's at least something for people to be able to tune in, see a face, to hear why you believe people should vote for you, and to hear, have you ask your people who are running in the same race with you a question and for them to respond, and vice versa. That's the best we can do at this time. We'll see how this works. I know that there's probably a lot of people think we could do something different, but I'm sorry, we're doing the best we can, and I hope it'll all work out in everyone's best interest. So without further ado, I will go into the state races, and in the order on the ballot is the very first, and State Representative District 10. We have Kanamu Belinbin, and so Kanamu, I know I saw you you signed in there, and I know that you're not in the doghouse, you're in the back seat. So it's interesting, but so your very first question is the one, why should voters choose you in this election? And what makes you unique? You got 3 minutes.
Well, first I'd like to send out my condolences to the Vinuya and Makikau family. We lost one of their family members, Char Vinuya. She's a close friend of ours. We actually bought their house a few years ago, so I'd like to send my condolences out to them. I thought about this question a lot. How am I unique? I'm unique in the sense that I come from a direct line of King P. Lani, one of the Moai of Maui Nui way back when. And, our family still have our Kuleana lands, which is really close to P. Lani's majestic heiau. So I have that Nanaulu mana inside of me to where I want to help people. I want to help people on a personal level, on a state level. I'm known in Lahaina as one of the persons to help with fundraising, to help with beach cleanups, to organize. We had a beach access issue here in West Maui, Upper West Maui, and I went to some people, couldn't get the help that I needed, and I joined a group. Maybe I don't know if you're familiar, na Pai Pai Vai Vai Ula Ula, and we were successful in getting some of our beach accesses back here in Upper West Maui. And while doing that, we got a lot of recognition, but more so, we're able to help people get back to the beach. There's a video out also. If you haven't seen it, it was made by Laleo P. Lani. It was a very nice video about all the ahupua'as here and the different beaches. I consider myself a problem solver. If there's a problem, whether it be funding for equipment for our Line of Chiefs football team, we find ways to just we ask, and if you can't, people sometimes they promise things that they can't come through. Somehow we get through it. I always find a way to persevere. I consider myself. I don't consider myself my leader. I'm really like to help people with their personal problems, help people with state issues. I went around and asked people, what are some of your issues here? A lot of them say we need our hospital. We need our hospital.
Seconds.
We need a community center. There's all kinds of things happening in West Maui that needs to be taken care of. And I will promise, with the community's help, I'll do my best to fix some problems here. That's pretty quick, 3 minutes.
Oh, I guess you had time left. You didn't. So thank you very much for that. And then we'll move on to the next to Travis Gildenstern. Travis, you would give us what makes you unique and why should people vote for you?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you for hosting the West Maui Taxpayers Association Forum. My name is Travis Gildenstern, and I am running to represent West Maui, Ma'alaya, and a portion of North Kihei on the state level. I have lived on West Maui the last 10 years and have worked in the service, gym, hospitality, and airport industries in my district, while also being a hemp entrepreneur. Working in these fields has given me a unique understanding of the needs and wants of my community. Within the community, I've also attended and organized numerous beach and highway cleanups, volunteered my time, and have donated to those in need. And I will continue to pay it forward because I love my community. I'm running for public office because I can no longer just stand and watch as our elected officials take Hawaii down a path that is predicted to lose more than 25,000 residents over the next 2 years due to the state's poor economic outlook and lack of sustainable employment. I chose to run under the Aloha Aina Party because it represents not only a movement, but also another option, an option that is finally for the people, by the people. The time is now to put the future of Hawaii's people first. I believe I can provide fresh leadership that is committed to sparking solutions through legislature and bring trust and accountability back to the forefront of governance while protecting our mountains, streams, and oceans by any means necessary. With your vote, I know together we can steer Hawaii away from the one-party system and toward the direction it was destined for. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you very much. Next, we have Angus McKelvey. Angus, what makes you unique and why should voters choose to vote for you?
Well, first off, I want to say aloha, Joe, and aloha to everybody, and aloha to my opponents. And just what makes me unique is, well, I'm a pretty unique guy, as you can see. I guess what makes me unique is that I think I've proven through the years, I know how to get things done in the massive maze of state government for Maui, for regular folk, for working folk. whether it's doing things like securing lands for legacy with Honolulu Bay, including Medicaid buy-in so our senior citizens can afford to get their medical coverage. And during this pandemic, being able to deliver PUA and UI benefits to people who are stuck in the system, the ability to be able to get things done for Maui people in Honolulu, I believe, is what hopefully makes me unique. And we all share a heart and passion of community service. I just think that I have the ability to be able to move the wheel in Honolulu on many levels, especially with the huge budget deficits we have coming up. Now more than ever, we're going to have to protect Maui Nui and protect our vulnerable citizens. And I think I can do that given the years of experience and the support and being somebody who was born and raised in Lahaina and has been so blessed to be a part of this community for my entire life. Mahalo, everybody. Thanks for being here. Mahalo, Joe, and aloha.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, no one's got time keep to you, so that's good, I guess. You can take all your time and don't feel rushed. So now we have a chance to ask a candidate. We'll start with Kanamu Malinbin. You can pick either Travis or Angus, one or the other, and ask them a question. Pick one and ask. Kanamu, you got to unmute yourself. Kanamu Malinbin, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Thank you. Well, I know Angus for a while. He helped me out on several occasions with some issues that I've had and other people I've had. So, I guess this is for Travis. I'd like to say, Angus, I hope your mom's doing well. I'd just like to put that in. And, I'll just ask Travis. Travis, my only question is that you've been here for 10 years. I kind of know everybody in Lahaina. Where did you do beach cleanups and stuff? Because we do that a lot with our surf club and things like that.
Thank you for the question. I've been involved with Surfrider. I did cleanups at Fleming. I've also done highway cleanups on the upper road, the highway. Maui Bruco has always sponsored community events, so working with them for the past 9 years, like I've been, we did plenty of beach cleanups, and I organized some through my company, Hempstrand, as well.
Okay, thank you. Now, Travis, it's your turn to ask a question of a candidate.
My question is for Angus. Over the last 14 years that you've been in office, what have you done personally to transition Hawaii, or I should say, diversify Hawaii's economy? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Actually, there's been a lot of things, whether it's been the manufacturing grant program to allow our local industries, or many of our companies, including Maui Brewing Company, to pull down monies for support for their industries. The other thing we've done, again, has been in transforming our economy, has been to move forward to a hemp regulatory structure, try to legalize the growing of hemp. And the biggest thing is what we're trying to do is to get more resources to small businesses, particularly our local manufacturers. I talked also about the Small Business Innovation Research Grant, which is something that we've done to allow tech companies, especially local tech companies, to tie into the second and third level of funding that they need to be successful and hire people on and actually create jobs, as well as working the renewable energy sector. I was a co-sponsor of the bill to set our mandates for 2050 for a 100% renewable energy portfolio, as well as we did the credits for photovoltaic, as well as for some of the other systems that you see now coming online. And it's a lot of work to be done. You're right. I mean, and all small businesses now more than ever need support. And so we have to expand our efforts beyond the targeted things that we're doing. But during that time, these are the things we've done to move the wheel forward to try to diversify our economy. But thanks, Travis. I appreciate the question. Hope that's a good response. Oh, by the way, come on, it's good to see you, brother. Hope everything's going well with your family, man. I'll tell my mom you said aloha.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, Angus, well, you're not done. It's your chance to ask a question of one of your opponents.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Well, I've known Kamano for years. He's been an integral part of our community and his public service, is well known. It's good to see you. My question is for Travis. You talk about, you have a plan for a sustainable economy, especially in the COVID era. What is your plan to create a sustainable economy and generate revenue while tackling the $1 billion projected deficit coming down the pike for 2021?
Thank you. That's quite a lot to talk about in 2 minutes, but some ways to diversify. Obviously, think full-scale hemp. Obviously, before 2050, we need it now. I think we can generate a lot of income from that. Looking at medicinal crops for export would be great. Definitely bolstering our agricultural sector would be my number one priority. I believe we can also look at what Singapore is doing with their manufacturing. We have plenty of close neighbors internationally we can be trading with. As far as the deficit, that's going to take some work, but I don't plan on cutting anything huge. I think there's ways we can cut certain overspent sectors, if you will, such as tourism. That's $80 million, I believe. Also, not cutting fixed costs will be big. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work, and I know as a newcomer, there's quite a learning curve. But I think there's ways that we can do it in a better way than what we have in the past. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That went relatively well. So you're the only race where we've had 3 people, and that's what's a little unusual. I didn't know how that was going to work out, and I thank you for your participation in that. Our other races are you got 1 or 2 maximum, so it'll be a lot easier. But thank you very much. That went very well. And so if we go down to on the ballot, the next thing from the state contest is the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and the very first listing there is the Hawaii Resident Trustee. I guess Lindsay is not going to be with us. Keola Lindsay, but we have Lanakila Mangual. And are you there?
Aloha kako.
Okay, so here's since you don't have an opponent, so you got 3 minutes to tell us why people should vote for you and what makes you unique.
First of all, really mahalo everybody. Mahalo West Maui Taxpayers Association for hosting this, as well as Akaku. Mahalo very much for having me. I know the question might be very commonly as to why are we seeing a Hawaii resident trustee on our ballots here? It is an unusual question that deserves a proper conversation. OHA is unique. Some refer to as the 4th branch of governance in Hawaii. It was created under the 1978 Constitution, specifically with the responsibility to take care of the Native Hawaiian population. I myself am born and raised in the community of Honoka'a on the north side of Hawaii Island. So we're very close. We see Hana Maui from where I'm at. It's a wonderful relationship, I think, to maintain that, even though we are 2 separate islands, even in Kawakahiko in the days of old, there was always a good relationship between Kohalamoku and particularly Hana Maui. So I think the responsibility for every trustee, though we might be coming to represent our own particular islands, we still have the kuleana, the responsibility to take care of Kapai Aina across the entire archipelago. I'm born and raised in this small sugar plantation community. I am the son of Maureen Louise McGraw. My mother is originally from Colorado. She's Irish Scottish. And my father is Stephen Manguel, originally from Kailua Kona. Is Hawaiian Filipino on that side. So I come from a diverse family in Ohana. And for many years, I was blessed to be raised Mauka of my community, actually up in the forested areas of Ahualoa, and spent a lot of my time growing up down in Waipio Valley, working the Aina a lot, working the Lo'i, was honored to be able to learn from amazing kupuna and kumu, and was really grounded in the foundation of my culture. I am a product of the Hawaiian Charter School movement. Actually, the entire Hawaiian Charter School movement began right here in the town of Honoka'a, and then it branched out. Now we have multiple schools across the Pai'aina. I'm a graduate of Kano Ka'aina, which was the very first Hawaiian public charter school. And I'm very blessed to be a product of that renaissance of Hawaiian education. With that, the balance of being able to be, as a Kanaka Maoli, being able to be brought up strongly rooted in the foundation of this aina, of my own kupuna, and still and find a foundation to understand the world. I'm very blessed to have, when I graduated, I did attend Hawaii Community College for a time, and I became a teacher shortly after. And so my diverse background, as a small business owner in my own town, doing Hawaiian education and such, has put me at the forefront of being able to educate and to share and speak with all people across in any place in the world. And I hope to bring that knowledge to help to support our communities here. So aloha.
Awesome. Wow. You just made that right exactly when the timekeeper hit the thing. Beautiful. Great timing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Next listed on the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is for the Molokai Resident Trustee. And we have two candidates there. First one is Luann Alapa. Are you there? Luana Alapa, are you there? Okay. I'm not hearing anybody respond to that. Are you not there? Are you muted? I don't know, Dan O'Brien, did she check in? Well, I guess hearing nothing, when we go to Colette Machado. Colette, what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
Mahalo nui for the invitation to participate. I grew up on Molokai. My parents worked in the pineapple fields and collected welfares during the off season. My life wasn't privilege. I worked hard to accomplish where I am today. Prior to being elected to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs for representing the islands of Molokai and Lanai, I was a strong advocate, vigorously working towards the return of Kaho'olawe to the state of Hawaii. I have always been a member of the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana. I was active in being responsible in looking at a direction for the island on a community plan that we worked on from the early 90s. We were able to get citizenry participation, and we carved out critical pieces that were protective, that needed protection on the east end of Molokai, that we so fondly refer to as Manai. In addition to that, I was elected back in 1996, and I have served with OHA all these years. In the past 7 years, I was elected to serve as the board chair. So I was able to represent the agency in all issues, both politically at the national level in Congress, as well as representing Office of Hawaiian Affairs at the legislature. We refer to the legislature as the building, the square building, both in the House and the Senate. We were part of a rigorous approach to maintain certain issues that impacted our beneficiaries. For the island of Maui in particular, it has always been the struggle for water and the protection of the diversion of water to development in the plains of Kahalui. So OHA was on the forefront advocating for Nawai'eha to get waters returned back to the taro farmers, as well as working with the East Maui, not Nawai'eha, but with the families from Wailua Nui. So water is pretty critical for the survival of our farmers that are doing taro cultivation. So I'm not sure what my time looks like, but I wanted to close by simply saying a vote for me is an acknowledgement of the Molokai and Lanai communities that I represent, because in the primary, the majority of Molokai, Lanai, and also Maui voted for me. And I thank all of you for your enduring support in all my past years. And I can assure you that I will represent your voice very strongly, both in the square building at the Capitol, as well as at the board table for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo. Thank you so much, Colette. So did Luan Alapa is not there? Okay, not hearing anything then. I guess they didn't let us know that they weren't going to be here, but it is what it is. So we're now at the at-large trustee, Kelly Akina. What makes you unique and why should voters choose to vote for you?
Well, aloha mai kako to everyone tonight. I'm Keli'i Akina, your trustee at large in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And I want to say thank you to Akaku and also to Joe Pluta and the West Maui Taxpayers Association. It's been wonderful to come out to your events over the past several years. And although I live on Oahu, I'm a trustee at large, so my concerns are also for the island of Maui. And in my other work as the president of the Grassroots Institute, I've worked with West Maui Taxpayers Association on issues such as providing more housing, bringing the cost of living down, and protecting the environment. So your concerns on Maui are very much on my heart. Your question is an important one. You know, what makes me unique in the race for a trustee at large? And I think it's simply this: I am the only candidate with a proven record of fighting against fraud, waste, and abuse at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Now, I love the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. It does great things for the people of Hawaii, and it can do so many better things. But right now, there are many needs that are not being met. For example, we've got 27,000 qualified Hawaiians on the Hawaiian Homes waiting list who are not getting homes, and thousands have died. That's a shame, and that shouldn't be happening. The state auditor wrote a scathing report in 2018 and said that in our grants program, it's not what you know, but who you know. The state legislature right now is withholding the entire budget of the last legislature from OHA because they want them to be audited again to find out what's taking place in our private companies. And OHA's reputation has reached an all-time low. This hurts me because when that happens, Hawaiians don't get housing and jobs and education and healthcare. And that's why in 2016, when I was elected, I began to keep my campaign promise to fight fraud, waste, and abuse. I championed an independent audit that has revealed many red flags and has become the blueprint for restoring OHA. And when many trustees were found by the state auditor to have abused their trustee allowances, I decided that I would not use mine at all. And so I returned $44,400 to the beneficiaries of OHA. And that was not because I'm better, but it's just that we have to walk the talk and we have to be examples. So in answer to your question, what makes me unique? I have humbly tried to be the watchdog at OHA to fight against fraud, waste, and abuse. And when I return, I'm going to continue to help to build the assets and the resources of the organization so that the needs of Hawaiians can be met. My passion is this. I want to see that every Hawaiian has housing and jobs and education and healthcare. I also want to see that all people work together in harmony. So I want to encourage all of you to work hard and exercise your right and your responsibility to vote for good trustees. Thank you so much for the time. And it's been wonderful listening to all of you present your own mana'o from your own perspective. I thank you. I'm Keli'i Akina. I humbly ask you to vote for me as trustee at large in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Aloha mai.
Aloha. Thank you so much, Keli'i Akina. And since so far, in none of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs races do we have two candidates present. So to ask your someone who's running for the same office a question is not possible. So in that case, thank you for what you've contributed, and we'll move to the county races. So when you go to the county of Maui, on the ballot, the very top right-hand corner of the ballot for East Maui says Council Member East Maui, and we have Claire Carroll. Claire, are you there? Can you tell us what makes you unique and why voters should choose you? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I was going to that side and then the host popped me up and unmute too over there. Aloha, everyone. I'm Claire Kamalu Carroll, and I'm running for Maui County Council, East Maui seat. So, what makes me unique? I would not recognize myself as unique because there are other people out there. I would describe myself as the same category as others, being out there for our community when they most needed us. Being in this pandemic, there was programs that was not able to continue. And our community called, and that's where we needed to be there the most. I've been food distributing among the island of Maui in Hana, Kahalui, Paia, and Haiku. I'm a person that reaches out and be proactive in working with others, doing programs as volunteer work as Kupuna Care, which is a volunteer program that we give our time at will to shop for our kupunas, whether they be in Hana, Makawao, or Wailuku. We all know that Lahaina was the biggest contributor to taxes to Maui County. I have visited Lahaina, and it saddens me. I do not look at the lack of visitors, but the lack of jobs that Lahaina faces. I've worked in Lahaina 2 years in Kapulua. We all know also, like East and West, we face water issues. I truly believe we may take care of our residents, but make sure each moku, where the water is coming from, receives the water that they deserve. We should not be transporting water into another area without taking care of the residents of the area that the water is coming from. I continue to help my community with an open door policy. If it is not a county issue, I assure you, I will help find the resources to help. I'm not beholden to anyone and thrive to serve Maui County as a whole. We have a chance to learn from our mistakes during this time. As a mom and a grandmother, it is vital to have a person of understanding to lead Maui County in our future and make decisions that
20
are fair
seconds.
for most. Mahalo.
You still got 20 seconds. You done? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Shane Cianci. Shane.
Hey, aloha kako, Mr. Pluta, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and mahalo to the West Maui Taxpayers Association for having me tonight. I'm Shane Sinensi, your East Maui Council representative. I was voted by my colleagues to chair the Environmental, Agriculture, and Culture Preservation Committee, and I believe my experiences over the last 20 years have prepared me to take this challenge. I grew up in Hana, where I developed an appreciation for the environment and a love for the aina. My father was from Kipahulu and my mother was from Ke'anai. So I frequented both places during my youth and all places in between. I attended Lahaina Luna High School in the mid-'80s, and so I'm proud to graduate from the oldest school west of the Rockies. As a boarder, we planted sweet corn, green beans, and cucumbers that we sold to market, and then the extra off-grade vegetables we ate in a cafeteria. We use chicken manure from the poultry to fertilize our crops, and we make kalua pig and lau from the swine. I began my leadership training at Lahaina Luna as the junior class president and the president of the boarding department. Lahaina is rich in culture, David Malo being the first Hawaiian scholar, and Halipa'i being the first printing press in the state. And so I'm proud to have spent part of my youth there. Spent my college years at the University of Oregon, where I got to whitewater raft the Mackenzie River and ski the slopes of Mount Bachelor. I graduated with a degree in architecture and lived in Portland for a little while. Upon returning home to Hana, I acquired my teacher certification in special education, where I taught for 20 years. During that time, I helped with my community by coaching ASO soccer, high school tennis, and volleyball. I taught in summer school programs that focus on place-based education and the environment. I also served on the Community Association Board, the Advisory Committee to the Planning Commission, and the Hana Ahamoku Councils. I've since acquired my master's in education administration for charter schools. My focus on the council has been creating proactive policies like more protections for Native Hawaiian sites and culture inventory, promoting environmental stewardship like Bill 52, and we stopped commercial activities at Hanako'o Beach Park. We are presenting a charter amendment for the Department of Agriculture. We all share the common ancestors who work in the sugar and
20
plantation
seconds.
field. But our resiliency as a people also comes from them. They made do with what we had, never wasted anything. During these challenging times, we need to revert back to those times of mahele and sharing so that we can survive this global pandemic. Challenges of sea level rise and climate change is important to plan for.
Oops, looks like you got muted. I'm sorry there, Shane. Our timekeeper is right on it. So when the time is up, you get muted. So I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Now, Claire, you have a chance to ask Shane a question, and 1 minute max to ask the question, and he's got 2 minutes to respond. So there, you're up. You have to unmute yourself, Claire. There you go.
Every time it's my time to talk, there's 2 unmute buttons. So anyways, Mr. Pluta, I should have emailed you earlier. I will welcome Mr. Councilman Sinanci to ask me a question. For myself, I truly feel it is the voice of the people to ask for our candidates and what questions they have for us. So I decline to ask Mr. Sinanci a question. Mahalo.
Okay, that's not mandatory. Yes, you're entitled to do that. Thank you so much. Shane, do you want to ask Claire a question?
Yeah, again, I appreciate Claire for Mana'unui tonight. And I just maybe ask her with the Department of Agriculture, what is her Mana'o support? Is she supportive? And why would she help some of our farmers get some extra grant funding?
Claire, do you want to respond to that? You have to unmute yourself. There you are.
I apologize. There's 2 unmute buttons going on here. Anyways, thank you for the question, Councilman Sinanci. I have spoken to those farmers. A very good example is not putting our community into hardship. Recently, last week, I went to visit the home of a lifelong rancher. She expressed to me the concerns of the tier system. Her land taxes, she has been in cattle ranch for many years. If we're trying to help our agriculture, it went from 250 to 300 to 400 in the last 3 years. And in 2020, her land tax for where she keeps her cattle, and her cattle was not present in the pasture at that particular time, rose up to over $8,500. I think there should have been more community input. The tier system, I testified, and I said, please bring this to the community. We are generational here, you and I. Should we face the circumstances are we today? We have the state and the federal level of agriculture. There should have been more discussion with not only farmers and the rest of the community. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Claire. Awesome. Okay, well, that went very well. Thank you. Next on the ballot for West County of Maui on the council for West Maui is Rick Nava first, and then Tamara Pelton second. Rick, you're first. So Rick, what makes you unique, and why should voters vote for you?
Aloha, everyone. Aloha and good evening. West Maui Taxpayers Association. Thank you for hosting us this evening. I am Rick Nava, small business owner and your candidate for the West Maui County Council. What makes me unique? 40 years ago, I married my high school sweetheart, Rena. Today, we have a son, Aaron, who is a teacher in Las Vegas, a daughter who works at the Westin Kanapali Beach Resort, Tiffany, 3 grandchildren, and 1 along the way. What makes me unique also is that I graduated from Lahaina Luna High School, and for over 30 years, I have supported the growth of the West Maui community effectively in participating with the Rotary Club of Lahaina and the West Maui Taxpayers Association. That in itself, because I've been involved here in Lahaina, I wish there were more of our alumni who is actually involved right here in Lahaina to see the growth of our island and how we're helping with the homeless, as I tutor the youth, our future, and as I support the agriculture family, as well as many other projects to help improve our community and our way of life. It makes me very unique as well that I served in the police commission from 1995 to 2000. And just recently, I was the chairman of the board for the Maui Chamber of Commerce. So I bring a lot into the table as far as leadership is concerned, as far as what I'm able to do moving forward. Further, I've also served 29 years in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Army Reserve, where I learned and understood the importance and the true meaning of thinking outside the box. I believe it's a style of thinking that if we need to succeed, especially what's happening here in Maui, where we do not know what's going on in the Maui County with the pandemic, we need someone like me, a leader who knows exactly what it is to get things done. So then why should Maui County people vote for Rick Nava? Again, I had said earlier, my uniqueness in being a leader in business in the community, when I am elected, I will hit the ground running. I've already set my priorities, and for the last several years, I know exactly what I need to do, how to get all of this implemented, how to get Maui back to working again, how to revitalize our hotel industry, how we can have affordable homes and affordable rentals for our local family, empowering our youth. As I said earlier, our youth is our future. It is important that we take care of them. More so, we will take care of our kapuna. One of the things that I will really work hard is that, during this pandemic, the budget or
20 seconds
will be short, but I will make sure that public safety and public health will not be compromised. So I will work on all of that. And of course, I've mentioned again, I will work on having a fire station in Olowalu. So these are the things already that I've been putting in motion. And as I said earlier, I'm ready to work for the County of Maui.
Oh, looks like you were muted. So at 20 seconds, our timekeeper is right on it. She's muted you. So thank you for that. And now we're going to go to Tamara Paulton. Tamara, what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much to the West Maui Taxpayers Association, Akaku, and all the viewers for being engaged and learning about the candidates this election. My name is Tamara Paulton, and I serve as your West Maui County Council member. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to represent West Maui and all of Maui County. I feel a deep personal kuleana in all the decisions I make to listen, learn, and improve the quality of life for our residents. I was born and raised here in Hawaii, originally from Hilo. I've earned a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics and Education from Northern Arizona University. I'm a Ka'ipu Kukui Leadership Fellow and former president of the West Maui Preservation Association. My husband, George Vieira, and I are raising our 2 children in Napili. And prior to being elected, I served on Maui County's Special Committee on Governance and worked as an Ocean Safety Lieutenant for the Department of Fire and Public Safety at DT Fleming's Beach Park. During my first term in office, I was selected as Maui Time Weekly's People's Choice Award for Best County Council Member. I've helped fund the pilot Lahaina Clean and Safe program, and I'm working with Officer Kauha'aha'a on some legislation to help officers in the Lahaina historic districts. I've opened a district office in Lahaina to better serve West Maui residents. I've introduced items for our Maui County legislative package to move single-payer healthcare forward, give counties the authority to establish rental car caps, and fund alcohol addiction treatment with liquor fines. I chair the council's Planning and Sustainable Land Use Committee, and I've made a dedicated effort to quickly hear items like Waikapu Country Town and Kilohana Makai that would create more responsibly developed affordable housing. I've facilitated my meetings and approach all meetings in an open, fair, and balanced manner, which is critically important when working with other members and representing such a diverse county. I love Maui County, and I'm asking for your vote based on my background in public safety and public service, as well as my accomplishments on the council to date. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Tamara. Going back up then to Rick. Rick, you have an opportunity, 1 minute to maximum, to ask a question of Tamara. And Tamara, you've got 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to ask Tamara on this one here. You know, as a proud veteran of 29 years, I took an oath within the United States Army that I will protect the Constitution of the United States of America. I took a pledge to protect our nation from foreign and domestic enemies. I would be interested to know your position to taking the same oath, as I believe, and it's important for the voters of Maui to know your position on this very important matter.
Do you understand that question, Tamara?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nava, for the question. I also am very proud of our veterans. My father served in World War II, and my husband is a former United States Marine, and I believe deeply in the United States Constitution. I took an oath to uphold the United States Constitution, and part of what the United States Constitution says is that no independent country can take over another independent country without a treaty of annexation. In November 28, 1843, by the Anglo-Franco Proclamation, Hawaii was recognized as an independent sovereign nation. There has been no treaty of annexation per the US Constitution of how one independent country takes over another independent country. The mechanism by which the United States acquired Hawaii is a joint resolution of Congress. And we've passed resolutions at the county level, the state level, and even the federal level. And a resolution has no effect outside of that country's borders. So it is what it is. I deeply honor and believe the US Constitution, and I hope that the United States will as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Now you have an opportunity up to 1 minute to ask Rick Nava a question. He's got 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Pluta. My question would be, you know, we both ran for this office in 2018. And at that time you applied and were selected to serve on West Maui Community Plan Advisory Committee. And yet, despite asking for that privilege and being given it, you couldn't fulfill the commitment to our West Maui community. And so my question is, how can our community be sure that you would fill the commitment this time around?
Mr. Nava, you understand the question?
Yes, I believe you're mistaken. It's not that I couldn't commit. In fact, I requested to pull out because after I found out the commitment that I need to give to this, I had said to the mayor then that I can't give that kind of time. It would be better that we find somebody who would have that commitment. As you know, with my grandchildren, with running my own company, with the Rotary Club of Lahaina, with the West Maui Taxpayers Association, and at that time, I also just created what we call the Bahai Kubo Heritage Foundation, which is a foundation that is now restoring our Bahai Kubo for the Filipino community in the at the Yao Valley. As I dug deeper into it, I found out that there is no way I will be able to give the kind of commitment to all this organization that I'm involved with. If I put my effort into one, I want to make sure that I will succeed in doing it. I don't want to be involved in any organization so that I have my name on it. You know, in fact, I called some of the council members and they asked me, I said, why are you not serving? And this is exactly what I told them. As you could see, I'm gonna repeat again, I am running my own company. I am with the Rotary Club of Lahaina. I am with the West Maui Taxpayers Association. I just started a 501c3 corporation called the Bahai Kubo Heritage Foundation. And you know, I love to be with my family. My family comes first and foremost to me. My family, I've always said to even to the younger family, I tell them, look guys, once you miss that time with your young child, your grandson, your grandchildren, you can never bring it back again. Spend time with them.
20 seconds.
That's what I do. That to me was important. And I would have loved to have been there, but I'm sorry, I've already made a commitment, but I was not involved at all in that, you know, backing up before I got elected in. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, awesome. Now we'll go on to the next race. This is the council member from Wailuku Waihe, Alice Lee. Alice is one who called us and said that she was not going to be participating today. She had another conflict, but wished us well. Thank you, Alice. And we miss you. I hope your other meeting went well. A council member for Kahului. We got Tasha Kama and Carol Lee Kamikona. So start with Tasha Kama. Tasha, what makes you unique and why should people vote for you?
Thank you, Joe, for the invitation to be here tonight. Thank you for and mahalo to the West Maui Taxpayers Association for the opportunity to meet and greet the people of West Maui and the taxpayers there too, and to learn and listen about the mission of your organization and how I may support you. What makes me unique, or as the dictionary defines unique, one of a kind, remarkable, special, or unusual. Well, the reality is there's only one Tasha Kama. There's only one Tasha Kama who's been married for 50 years to her high school sweetheart, who birthed 11 children, went back to school, received a college degree, ran for public office, and got elected in 2018. That's, I think, that sets me apart from anybody else because there's only one of me. I believe that voters should vote for me because I'm patient, I'm fair-minded, and reasonable. I am clear about who it is I am serving, and I'm not influenced by campaign contributions, and have no agenda other than to serve those who elected me to this position to the best of my ability. I am courageous, I'm thick-skinned, but I don't give in to bullying or intimidation or the nastiness that occurs when I do not support other people's views, because the best decision must benefit the majority of the people of Maui County, not just a special interest group. I do, however, listen to facts, data, and experts when they offer advice, but I also seek spiritual guidance too. The decisions I make are made on values of reason, common sense, sound principles, fairness, coupled with love for my community and service to my community, regardless of the political fallout. So to the West Maui Taxpayers Association, mahalo and thank you very much.
Thank you, Tasha Kama. And next we have Carol Lee Kona. Carol Lee, what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
Aloha and mahalo, Joe, and the West Maui Taxpayers Association for allowing me to be here this evening. My name is Carol Lee Kamikona, and I am running for the Maui County Council's Kahului seat. I was born in Hilo, lived in the islands for a while, and eventually moved to San Francisco, where I graduated from high school. I joined the Navy a year later and retired after 22 years from the Naval Reserve. As a single mother, I raised 7 children, 6 of whom are also veterans. As we move forward post-COVID, I foresee a thriving Maui, rich in agriculture and technology, with an innovative leadership that has the foresight to think outside the box. As diverse as we are in cultures, we need that diversity to flourish in our economy. Taking tourism to a whole new level, intertwining the culture, educating the history, and preserving the traditions on Maui from Mauka to Makai. Bringing Maui to the forefront and being the precedent setter. As an only child and a single mother, I had to learn what sibling rivalry was, how to share, how not to show favoritism. I had to learn how to deal with 7 different personalities. In the military, I was exposed to many different cultures, along with different personalities. Those experiences laid the foundation of who I am today. In the eyes of my children, the strength and endurance it took to raise them came from many trials and tribulations, but we persevered with our belief in Keokua. I learned to be a good listener, always searching for the truth, not jumping to conclusions, assessing and understanding the entire situation, and trying to do what is right. I stand by my convictions and I follow through with what I say I will do. My yearning to return to the sands of my birth has put me on a path to learn my roots, my culture, and my history, that which is not taught in school. I am a strong proponent in doing what I can for the residents of Maui, actually having truly affordable housing built, working towards food security and sustainability, diversifying our economy and expanding services for our disabled, houseless, and less fortunate, working for the betterment of Maui Nui. Through all this is where my values of dignity, integrity, and accountability stem, values needed in our leadership. This is what makes me unique and why you should vote for me. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Carolee. Now we go back to Tasha. You have an opportunity to ask Carolee a question.
Thank you, Joe. So my question to you, Carolee, and I don't know, you can tell me, Joe, if it's appropriate or not. So just let me know that. And then Carolee, you can decline or not. But would you join me in singing Hawaii Pono'i?
I would be honored, Councilmember Kama. I would be honored.
Is that okay, Joe?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Hawaii Pono'i, na Pono'i, kalani ali he ali makualani e kameha meha e nakava e pale me Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Carolee.
Thank you. I wish we had had an opportunity for everybody everywhere to join in to that. I just get such a beautiful song and such a beautiful meaning. Thank you for that.
No,
Carolee, you want to ask Tasha a question?
Yes, Joe. Mahalo, Councilmember Kama, for that. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui to
My
you.
question to you.
Yes.
As one who ran on a platform of affordable housing,
yes,
what projects have you championed for the residents, the families of Maui in the last 2 years that are truly affordable at no more than $300,000?
So I'm going to include in that is probably the one that was done within the 2 years that I have been on the council. So although I did approve, my committee approved, I think, 8 projects totaled about 308 units. None of those units have been built yet because it takes contractors time to be able to do that. But I'll tell you what I did do in the past 2 years. We're able to get funding for the University of Hawaii dorms to be able to build 12 new units. We did that with funding from Hawaii Housing Authority, funding from the state legislature, funding from Ohana Zoning. We also got the mayor to be able to okie dokie the intergovernmental agreement with the University of Hawaii, Maui College. So the 2 years that I have been, we've worked on that project, and that project is going to be completed by, I think, spring of 2021. And that is the highlight of my 2 years in office. And thank you for that.
Mahalo.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Now we're moving to the next race. Councilmember South Maui, vote for not more than one state. Tom Cook, and then Kelly King. Tom, you're up first. So what makes you unique, and why should people vote for you?
Aloha, Joseph. Aloha, all the council members and candidates. Thanks to West Maui Taxpayers Association for this opportunity to introduce myself. I am a candidate for the South Maui County Council seat. I've been a resident of Maui for 50 years. I'm a transplant. I moved here as a teenager, married a girl from Makawao. When I came here, it was the Arab oil embargo. It was after the Vietnam War. Self-sufficiency was always sort of driving aspect of my life. I have a GED. I don't have a formal college education. My education was basically always hands-on. I've homesteaded in Kapakalua. I had a small inheritance from my grandfather. I spent it all on a piece of land. My father-in-law, Lawrence Figueroa, thought I was nuts. He told me, boy, why don't you go Kahalui, buy one house? But bought a piece of land on Avalao Road, no water, no electricity, vivas, guavas, lived in a shed, built a small house. The guy that I bought the kit from, thought I had talent. He hired me. So long and the short of it, I was a carpenter, had a milk cow, a wind generator, rain catchment, lived off the grid for years. Now my son has the property. I got licensed in 1989 as a general contractor. I built TMC General Contracting up to a sizable company. If you go to UHMC, the carport, we did the structural, all the foundation and the structural concrete for that, for UHMC, both phases, Hope Chapel. So my daughter's a structural engineer, graduated from Maui High. My son does surveying and construction stakeout. My two youngest kids just graduated from Baldwin the last 2 years. What makes me unique is I'm not the normal average guy. People look at me and they go like, you're a contractor. And I'm not a contractor, I'm a builder. My passion is to build communities and not just homes. When people talk about affordable homes, I think about shelter, structure, type of roof, type of walls, affordability to date. The last 20 years, I was on the Affordable Housing, Maui Nui Affordable Housing Task Force in 2002. I was the president of Maui Contractors Association, as well as on the GPAC, one of the two haiku members. To me, the affordable housing conversation has all been about real estate. I don't look at it as real estate. I look at it as you have the land, you have the infrastructure, and you have the structure. And I believe that my skill sets with that and the MAPS program will enable us to utilize more tools to communicate and hopefully get things done. Aloha.
Thank you, Tom. Kelly, you got what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
Thank you, Joe. And thank you to the West Maui Taxpayers Association for allowing all of us this opportunity to address West Maui. I'm Kelly King, your current council member for the South Maui District. Many of you might know me through my decades of community involvement and advocating for the Arkeiki on the State Board of Education as a pioneer of biodiesel renewable fuel and from farming the sunflowers in central Maui. I'm a 40-year resident of this county, 35 years in the same Kihei home my husband and I built with a federal affordable housing loan, and where our children were born and raised. They're products of Maui's public and private schools, and they both graduated from Maui High School and both went on to get their master's degrees from UH Manoa. Bob and I have created and run two successful businesses, King Diesel, now King Power, and Pacific Biodiesel. And we just last month celebrated our 37th wedding anniversary, our greatest sustainability success to date. In 2016, I was pressed into running for office by local folks who were desirous of a change in leadership. Since then, gratitude, positive comments, and ongoing support from constituents have convinced me that it has been worth the hard work and commitment. I continue to be supported by groups as diverse as the Sierra Club, Maui Pono Network, 350.org, and the Realtors Association of Maui. I'm running for re-election to continue working to cultivate good government, promote transparency, and create collaborations. In the past few years, working with community groups, including a community advisory group I created in South Maui, much progress has been made in approving appropriate affordable housing through opening up communication between developers and community members. Nowhere is this clearer than the resurrection of the Pulelehua Affordable Housing Project right here in West Maui. I'm especially proud to have helped shepherd into North Kihei, an affordable rental project for Maui's lowest income folks, which opened last April with rents starting below $600 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. We need to strengthen the trend and continue to provide collaborative, accessible government and make faster headway on key challenges. Housing and homelessness, climate change, infrastructure, shoreline pollution, invasive species, bringing back recycling, and other problems that cannot be solved within the same structure of government that created them. The 7 charter amendments I helped to get on the ballot this election give voters an opportunity to upgrade our county government system. Today, COVID-19 is our biggest challenge. We need strong, intelligent leaders to focus on safe travel protocols, diversing our economy, and protecting our environment and our community plans. What makes me unique is my vast experience, running a successful mission-based business, a background in journalism that has helped my questioning skills, appointment to HTDC, the state agency supporting technology and manufacturing, being active in farming, being a mother and a grandmother, and advocating for those in the community who have not previously been heard. I humbly ask for your vote, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with your community tonight. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Kelly. Tom, you got a chance to ask Kelly a question.
Aloha, thank you. Kelly, I'm curious, why were you supportive of the charter amendments when the Charter Commission is going to be set in place next year?
Well, thank you for that question, Tom. The Charter Commission had actually addressed some of these problems and didn't come out with any results. In fact, they recommended that the council actually look at a new government system. So we're actually fulfilling the recommendations from the previous Charter Commission. I also think that if we're in an opportunity where we can help voters put changes on the ballot that they've been talking about for over a decade, then it's our responsibility, and we really shouldn't shirk that responsibility over to the Charter Commission. So we had great vetting. I appreciate all the council members that are on this venue right here. We discovered in depth issues even beyond what we had originally imagined, and we put 7 charter amendments on the ballot with a supermajority vote. So I'm very proud that we did that work and that we fulfilled the mission that the previous Charter Commission asked us to do.
Good. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Kelly, do you want to ask Tom a question?
Yeah, I do have a question for Tom. Thank you, Joe. The council is considering proposals to create 2 more official Maui County advisory committees, one in South Maui and one in Paia Haiku District. So in response to those who said it would add another layer to government, community members proposed the advisory committees have a stronger role in decision-making that would take some of the burden off the Maui Planning Commission and not result in an additional level of government. Why are you against allowing the communities to make decisions at the ground level where residents can be directly involved in the meetings, which will be held at a convenient evening hour?
Thank you for the question, Kelly. To clarify that, I'm not opposed to the various community having community meetings to weigh in on their area. I look at Maui County, and if you look at a satellite map of Maui, Molokai, Lanai, we're a very small community. I'm very supportive and encouraging the various small towns and areas, Haiku, Makawao, Paia, Kula, West Maui, Kihei, McKenna, to have their identity and really reinforce their neighborhood and their community spirit. I believe that Maui County is small enough with our population and our geographical area and our resources that we need to start looking holistically at our infrastructure and our land planning. The current process of having each community plan has tended to be somewhat contentious, and I want people to have a voice. I don't want to dictate anything. It's not my kuleana, but I feel that we need to start shifting gears and looking holistically at it, and it won't take years and years, and possibly we can, through this COVID, we can identify how much we have in common, how are the shared values, how we really, this polarization of us versus them, it's not me, it's we. So I'm not opposed to various, the communities. I don't think going directly to the council and bypassing the planning commission the way it currently is going to make it more efficient. I think that if we enhance our communication, open our hearts and open our minds to identify that we all have the same goals and agendas, preserve and protect our island, and take care to preserve this to pass it on for future generations, that we can make it work. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going on to the next race. Council member from Makawao, Haiku, Paia, vote for not Marte. Aja Iyer, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this. Aja, could you tell us why voters should vote for you and what makes you unique?
I think I'll start with what makes me unique, and it's that I have a very difficult to pronounce name. And I get called everything, and I love it. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for that name. I'm unique because I am named after Steely Dan album. And for those of you who know Steely Dan, you know exactly how old I am now. And my name's pronounced Asia. And then the last name I inherited when I married my husband 20 years ago, and it's Iyer. And you know, it depends on where I am, what makes me unique, because I'm not alone here in being the mother of many children. I have 5 of my own. I'm not alone in being married for a long time. Most of the people on here have been married much longer than I have. I graduated from Harvard University in 2001 with a degree in social anthropology. Maybe I'm unique because I went to the coldest place for college that you can possibly go. But I think what is unique about me that makes me someone that you can feel comfortable voting for is that I am very intelligent, creative, and courageous. And these are not normal politician buzzwords. But I do see in this pandemic world, and as we have had our house of cards fall with tourism being closed and seeing how hard it is to maintain a one-sided economy, we need courage and we need creativity. And we need the hard research that it takes to come through these. But we really just do have to take hard steps. I've been a small business consultant for the last 17 years. And something I'm very concerned about is how we diversify the economy, not by throwing money at it from the government, but by opening up our county to be more welcoming to lots of different industries and lots of different businesses. And also just helping our small businesses be able to manage the regulations that we have. We have a lot of regulations and a lot of taxation at a county level of our small businesses and our small farms. And that's a big concern of mine. And I would love to get into the county and present those ideas. And even if I'm not in there, I'd love to help get through this pandemic. It's something that affects all of us. It affects our neighbors, it affects our friends, and it affects the businesses that we've worked so hard to develop. It also affects our agriculture and our budding industries. And so there's nothing more important to me than really helping clear up the way our county operates so that we can provide a pathway that is supportive of the good efforts of the people of our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Aja. Mike Molina, what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you, Mike?
Well, let me first say I like you, Asia, because I'm a big Steely Dan fan. I'm Mike Molina. I was born on Maui and raised in Makawao. My parents were small business owners and raised 5 kids and were active community members in Makawao back in the day when it was common to see people riding their horses all over town. They worked many long hours to create a successful business and provide for our needs. And even with those long days and nights, they still found time to express their love and instill in us a strong work ethic, respect for all, and to give back to the community. After serving in the military and graduating from college, I became a public school teacher and tried to instill some of those same lessons into my students. One of my most fondest teaching memories was working with my 7th grade students at Kalama to bring a recycling center to Makawao, which still stands today. But what was most gratifying was to see the students learn about the process of government and seeing their faces and being empowered, knowing that they did a good thing for the community and made a big difference. As a council member, I've worked hard over the years and have had success with producing legislation in the areas of affordable housing and the environment. But this would not have been possible without the support of my colleagues and working together with the community. And so this is why I cannot overemphasize a quote from Martin Luther King that I share with people. He once said that we all came to this country on different ships, but now we're all in the same boat. And this reminds me of the importance of everybody working together or being in the same canoe and trying to find the best direction to find solutions. For this term, I've supported several affordable housing projects along with funding to create a much needed comprehensive affordable housing plan. With regards to legal matters, I supported settling the Lahaina injection well lawsuit to help protect our reefs and save taxpayer dollars. With regards to my district, I supported the purchase of open space land in Piahi and legislation to create a Paia Haiku Advisory Committee to give our citizens a bigger voice as to what they would like to have or not have in their communities. And should I be returned to office for another term, my priorities include, like many of you, rebuilding and diversifying our economy, and also continued support for affordable housing, and providing the necessary resources for our first responders to keep our community safe, and of course minimizing impacts to our environment, because my belief is taking care of our environment helps our visitor industry and our overall economy. And in reality, looking ahead, the next council will be facing a lot of challenges due to the economic impacts of COVID-19. It will leave the next council with less financial resources to address the many needs of our community. I'm up to the challenge and ready to work with my council colleagues, the administration, and the community to come up with solutions for the greater good of our county. And I'm also a strong believer in open and responsive government, and will continue my commitment to treat all constituents with respect, no matter whether we agree or disagree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate that. Asia, you have an opportunity to ask Mike a question.
Although I am tempted to ask if the saxophone is a better instrument than the piano, since we're both musicians, You've been in office for a long time, and I would like to hear from you. I know that there's many things that you really love about being a council member, but what are the hard things about being a council member?
Thanks for the question, Asia. I think you have to develop thick skin. You have to understand that people need to vent, and they're going to take a lot of their frustrations out on you and not take it personally. So this is a unique profession in that you can be condemned and praised at the same time. But the best thing I found about politics is just being around people and hearing their point of views, because it's a never-ending educational process. You know, you learn from the constituent, and hopefully the constituent learns something from you. So I've been really blessed to have served our community for in this capacity for nearly 12 years. So, you know, I encourage everybody for running, and forums like this is where you know, all of us can learn a lot. And that's the best part about politics, is again, just being around people. And even though we're doing this virtually, it's still, you know, a wonderful opportunity for us to learn from each other. So those are my thoughts about being in politics. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Mike. Now you have an opportunity to ask Aja a question.
Okay. Asia, you know, this is more of a national topic, but, you know, certainly could apply to our state and Maui County. There's been a great debate about police reform and defunding to police. Can you share with us what your stance is on this particular topic? Do you support defunding police? Why or why not? Thank you.
Thanks. This is a great question. We're really lucky here on Maui because, and Maui County as a whole, because a lot of our police force comes from our own communities. And so I think we see a lot more of the police action that we appreciate as a community. But I think this police reform movement, even though it's been around for a while, you know, there's been things at the state level that they've been pushing for 7 years that finally just got passed. But I think it's a good time for us to just really assess what we're doing. Are we providing, first of all, are we providing a working environment for our officers and our administration in the police department that helps them be their best selves and that supports them fully and provides them with the help that they need? And police reform isn't just about defunding the police. It's making sure that there are positions and trained people that can handle the wide variety of problems and concerns that the police have to deal with. And so sometimes it means paying for more positions for mental health workers, for example, or social workers, instead of continually hiring officers. And so that every officer doesn't have to, or an officer doesn't have to show up to every single crisis. Some of those can be handled by professionals that are trained in other ways. I do see, having looked at our police department, that, and I know the officers feel this way too, is we need to make sure that we're very transparent with what's going on there. What are the rules and orders? Even just looking at our list of orders that I think is like 850 pages, would our police force be better served by making that more clear and concise? So there, you know, although we don't have really the egregious problems that a lot of police departments have in the United States, we should take this opportunity to really assess our own department for the sake of our citizens and for the sake of the courageous and well-meaning people that work for the department.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Now we're moving to the council member for Upcountry. Yuki Lee Sugimura is there, and Yuki has no opponent this time. But so Yuki, if you're reelected, what is your main priorities? What do you want to do if reelected?
Thank you.
I mean, you will be reelected. So what do you plan on doing?
Like I asked my husband, I said, please vote for me so I can have, I need one vote. So just kidding. I appreciate it, this opportunity, Joe and the West Maui Taxpayers Association for doing this and for allowing the voters to get to know us. In this pandemic time has been very unusual because we have not been able to congregate, or people would have to watch us on television or online. So this success, I would hope that we can continue to have the Native Hawaiian people recognized in the federal government. A lot of their struggles are could help if we had the federal government understand our Native Hawaiian and provide them the opportunities that they have earned and deserve. During my time, I have also worked with the community. I had my own small business, and I did projects bringing community together. And I was a Wailuku Revitalization Coordinator under Mayor Apana. And I continued that work in 2002, opened up my own business. And I did things like cultural events or activities that were still centered in Wailuku or all small towns, which was my kuleana under Mayor Apana. And I continued that. And one of the things that people remember is I helped build and start Wailuku First Friday. So we're bringing community together, a free event with a lot of entertainment, and to have the visitors come and share the community.
20 seconds.
The other thing that is really important to me now is getting our community through this pandemic. I had a Zoom meeting with Judge Cardoza and some of the providers so that we could tell people to apply for the rental assistance or to help the 60,000 residents that are now without jobs. And I stand by them and I look towards helping them as we go into this next term, because we're still going to have this pandemic amongst us. I was in the Charter Commission, and the Charter Commission did not ask the council to take up the county manager. I think that's the what it's referring to, but we didn't have enough time to take up the vast amount of information needed as it was proposed too late in the process. So that was I just want to say that about the charter amendment, because I think it's important to understand that the charter amendments that are before you, the ones that are most concerned about are those that are going to add costs to the budget as we are in a pandemic. And I think that we need to take care of our citizens first before we add on more to our fragile economy. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I really appreciate being part of a forum because I have no opponent. I haven't been asked to participate in many. So I appreciate this a lot. Thank you, Joe. I look forward to helping you in this next term.
Thank you very much, Yukile. Going on to Lanai. We've got Alberta D. Jetley and Gabe Johnson. Alberta, you're up first. What makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
Aloha, Joe. Thank you very much. And to the West Maui Taxpayers Association and Akaku for hosting us this evening. Since 1985, we have had so many changes occurring on Lanai. The transition from being the world's largest pineapple plantation with more than 20,000 acres of land under cultivation to today's luxury resorts, such as the Four Seasons Resorts Lanai at Manele and Sente Retreat at Koali, has not always been an easy one. What makes me truly unique is that I've had a front row seat on all of the changes as they have been occurring. Today, our future is brighter and our resorts are catering to a very exclusive niche in the travel industry, but we must look at other ways to create new job opportunities. COVID-19 has clearly shown us that we must diversify our economy statewide. We have thousands of hotel workers who are unemployed and even more people unemployed in tourist-related businesses. Growing up on Lanai, I knew working in the pineapple fields was not what I wanted to do. And like many others of my generation, I left the island after graduation. We scattered across the United States, but Lanai was always home. When I returned to Lanai to live in 1996, I wanted to be an active participating member of our community and became well known for my willingness to help others. Today, with 50 years of business in Maui County and as a former publisher and editor of Lanai Today, a community newspaper I started in 2008, I am the go-to person for information on Lanai. I have a business name registered to me. It's Ask Alberta About Lanai. Rebuilding our economy will take teamwork. Regardless of who ends up seated on the council, we must all work together to build a healthy economy. After the sugar and plantations closed, pineapple plantations closed, tourism was a very attractive alternative. Our tourists have loved us too much, almost to the point of death. And today we have to consider how we can better control and manage tourism. I am only one person. The council will be composed of 9 unique members. Personally, I am voting for council candidates who I know will bend over backwards to help our county move forward and get our unemployed residents and closed businesses back to work. We may disagree on many issues, but I know we have dedicated candidates who will work hard because, like me, we love our communities on Lanai, Maui, and
20
Molokai.
seconds.
I hope you will put your trust in me. Aloha.
Thank you, Alberta. Mr. Gabe Johnson, what makes you unique and why should voters vote for you?
First off, I'd like to thank West Maui Taxpayers Association. I'm happy to be here and I thank you for the question. Aloha, I'm Gabe Johnson. I'm running for the Maui County Council Lanai seat. You may remember me from the food drives that we did on Lanai and Maui. I'm a farmer, I'm a father. My working class roots give me my work ethic. I'll work for you and not the corporate interests. My platform is simple. I believe workers should live in a clean environment with a healthy economy. I have an affordable housing plan that we can work with nonprofits, land trusts, and federal credit unions. People should vote for me because I know what it's like to struggle to make ends meet. My worldview is influenced by my empathy towards my fellow human beings. It's often said that we are judged by how we treat those less fortunate than ourselves, and I have always felt that we could do a better job at focusing on an economy that isn't a winner-take-all system. People's needs must be met. I'm a farmer, but I was once a Japanese teacher in Lahaina Intermediate. I worked for years in conservation as an invasive species technician, and I've worked at the resorts. I've cut my teeth on county level issues by serving on the Committee for Americans with Disabilities Act. It's time for local government to focus on local people. Vote for me, Gabe Johnson, and I'll use common sense for the common good. As a side note that may also add to my uniqueness, I was once lost at sea for 7 days, but that's a story for another time. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Alberta, you have an opportunity to ask Gabe a question.
Am I off mute now? I don't have a question for Gabe Johnson. Rather, I would like to say this to him. Gabe, I've always admired your willingness to put yourself out there as a candidate, not once, but 2 times previously to this time. It's hard work and expensive. Although we are running against each other, we have been friends ever since you moved to Lanai, almost 10 years ago. I want you to know, win or lose, I look forward to having many more discussions with you about Lanai's future over cups of coffee at the Blue Ginger Cafe. I wish all of the candidates who are running for office the best. And I once again want to thank all of the people who made tonight's forum possible. Aloha.
Thank you, Alberta. Gabe, do you want to ask Alberta a question?
Sure. My question is to Alberta, and I often say the phrase, keep it country. And I know many voters want slower development in their communities. And in a recent PBS Insights TV show, Alberta, you said that you would like to see Lanai's population go from 3,000 to 6,000. Do you still believe that we should develop Lanai that much during the time of pandemic? And if so, how would you sell that to a community who may not agree with you?
Alberta, you understand the question? You have to unmute.
Am I off? Okay.
There you are.
Our community with just 3,000, just a base population of 3,000 is not sustainable. We need a bit more volume, more people on Lanai to truly make it a sustainable community. We can't afford the amount of people we have presently aren't enough to support our basic needs. I think we do have to grow. One of the things that I've really been an advocate of, though, is maintaining as much of our island's open space as possible. I was on a talk show where they asked about, oh, look at all that open land. Think of all the things we can build. Our open space is our treasure. It's the gem that makes us truly different from every other community in Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberta. And thank you, Gabe. So we've got the final race, council member from Molokai, Stacey Helm Carvalho and Ms. Rollins Fernandez, Kiani. So we'll start off with Stacey Helm Carvalho. What makes you unique and why should people vote for you? Stacey, are you there?
Yeah. Okay. Aloha. Mahalo.
I'd like to extend my deepest appreciation for giving us this opportunity to express our roles as trying to serve as council. My name is Stacy Helm Crivella, and I'm born and raised on the island of Molokai. I grew up in Kalamaula Homestead. My parents were farmers. I come from a family of 7, and I'm a mother today of 4 sons and a grandmother of 6 grandchildren and a great grandmother. So that being said, I value how we malama one another and our landscape to begin with. My uniqueness comes aside from growing up on a farm, having our own well to hunt away the crop, and making sure we do have a market so that we can sustain our farming is very real, and we still continue to do such today. My uniqueness also comes with a badge of strong and experienced leadership. For instance, on Molokai, I was one of the founders of the first watershed project that we have. Why? Because we want to make sure water is available for generations to come. I'm also one of the founders for taking care of our environment and our beautiful, pristine coastal line and all the resources that come. And a founder of the Molokai Land Trust. I also participated on the state level with the Community-Based Economic Advisory and the Hawaii Community-Based Economic Development Association, and the participation to facilitate and create solutions is what I feel I bring to the table. So today, no one is isolated from the impacts of COVID-19. As policymakers, I think the council will need to work closely with the administration, the state and federal government, the private sector, as well as our nonprofit entities. In my opinion, my community work and previous time of the council indicate that I am able to facilitate collaboration with intention to find solutions. Today, thousands of our residents are unemployed. I hope we can have a council that will support jobs for all residents. It is important for us to have conversations with all sectors as how we will kickstart our economic engines and prepare and get our residents back to work.
20 seconds.
I do feel we can work harder to provide and advance affordable homes and rentals. And the next 2 years will be challenging. And I will work with everyone, especially our residents, to find a means to recover from this pandemic. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you very much, Stacy. And Ms. Fernandez, Kiani Rollins Fernandez, would you like to tell us what makes you unique and why people should vote for you?
Mahalo, Joe, and mahalo to the West Maui Taxpayers Association and Akaku for hosting tonight's forum, and to all those out there watching tonight. Aloha mai kako. I'm Kiani Rollins Fernandez, born and raised on Molokai and proud to now raise my children here on Molokai with my husband. I love our county, and it's an honor to serve you as your current Molokai Residency Council member, Council Vice Chair, and Chair of the Economic Development and Budget Committee. I think one of the things that makes me unique is that I'm the only council member on the council with a law degree and a master's degree in business administration, able to utilize this education and training to thoroughly vet legislation and offer insight regarding legal issues that presents itself when our own legal counsel is conflicted in the representation before the council body. As promised in our last election, I made transparency, community empowerment, increased public accessibility, and participation in government a priority by hosting monthly town hall meetings and having them broadcasted live on social media, which then replayed on Akaku. And I think that's another thing that makes me unique. I spearheaded the transition of council and committee meetings being held online via video conferencing like this, accepting live public testimony from wherever the testifier is, making Maui County the first council in the state to do so. Last year, I voted to not waste any more taxpayer dollars in pursuing litigation in the Lahaina injection well case, and instead invested in wastewater reuse. I also supported our West Maui Council members' budget priorities, allocating funding for West Maui farming efforts. I've voted to protect water resources, not approving luxury housing developments that would be in danger of fires, increase traffic, and strain water. Rather, I supported affordable rentals in West Maui and a safe reopening for the county during this pandemic. I've been a voice that you can rely on to serve you in office with integrity and fairness. It would be a privilege to continue working hard for you in the council. You can learn more about me and all that my office has accomplished in less than 2 years on the council at votecounty.com. I respectfully ask for your vote by November 3rd. Everyone in Maui County can vote for all council races. Mahalo.
Mahalo, thank you very much. Stacy Helm, do you have a question for Keani?
Thank you. Aloha, Keani, and wish you well. I have a question that, well, let me first clarify. And I think I'm going to segue off where candidate Kamalu Carroll made mention. I have been assisting as the Molokai community liaison from the mayor's office, about 12 landowners. And I'm working with the tax division as well as the landowners. I am sure the intentions of the TIG when they came up with the tiers or what have you, maybe there was some unintended consequences. So for instance, I have a rancher, been ranching for generations. And let's say for 2019, the rancher paid real property tax for $1,761. 2020, because of the changes and the reclassification of the process, he is now billed $18,000, and there's others that maybe was paying maybe $1,700. Now we have to pay $8,000. Maybe was paying $400, and now we'll pay $8,000.
I guess the timekeeper muted you. You went over your.
Sorry, I didn't realize there was a timekeeping for the question. So my question is that something that has been an unintended consequence, or is that something that maybe we need to look further into? And how did this come about?
You understand the question, Yanni?
I do. Mahalo, Stacy, for that wonderful question and for this opportunity to share with our community. Prior to the tax reform bill passing, I came to the community meeting hosted by Member Paulton and West Maui to answer these questions. Joe came and a few others, and we answered their questions. I also met with the Kula Community Association, the Molokai community. Chair Lee and Member Kama met with Kahului and Wailuku communities. So there was a lot of effort to discuss this with the community and the county. Our tax reform legislation helped us achieve equality and equity. And without even knowing that this pandemic was right around the corner, the tiered tax rate system, in a very timely way, enabled the council to provide tax relief for residents and businesses in our community's greatest time of need. I want to share a bit about how a person's property tax is determined. The property valuation is multiplied by the rate set by council. Council has no power over how valuation is determined. It is primarily determined by comparable sales in the area. Just today, I met with our real property tax administrator who explained that their office recently completed their agriculture audit, something they do about every 5 years or so, and found that valuations needed to be adjusted on several properties. So some of the specific parcels that Stacy brought up belonging to her nephew have actually been settled because I spoke with them and recommended that they speak with the RPT division, who were then able to help them adjust their agriculture property correctly. The RPT division encourages anyone and everyone who feels that the valuation of their property is incorrect to contact them. And I will be coordinating and helping to facilitate face-to-face Zoom meetings for people in the community that would like to speak with the department and ask questions or express their concerns, just as I have done last year. Mahalo for that question.
Thank you, Kiani. Now, do you want to ask Stacy a question?
I would love to. Mahalo, Joe. Stacy, you've been on the record voting in favor of continued litigation to fight the injection well lawsuit, something that I myself stood in staunch opposition of, in favor of preserving our sensitive nearshore waters and saving taxpayer dollars. In light of the recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling, the administration that you work for is still taking a strong stance to continue funding this losing and costly battle, over $4 million of taxpayer dollars, instead of investing in conversion, reuse, and mediation. Where do you now stand on this issue? Do you want to continue fighting this in court?
Thank you for the question. Am I okay?
We heard you, then you moved it there. Now you're okay.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for the question. Firstly, I've always said that we should be addressing this with the EPA and the Department of Health, who have failed to issue the permit, and they are the regulators. Okay. So when we talk about millions of taxpayers' monies, do we recognize that the injection wells we also have in Kihei and other areas will involve millions and millions of taxpayers' money for us to convert whatever? But it is now back. According to the Supreme Court, it has gone back to the Ninth Circuit Court. So I'm saying that I believe the mayor and his legal advisors are doing what's best for the County of Maui and our taxpayers. I believe we have to be fiscally responsible when we deal with our taxpaying monies. You know, it's like giving yourself pay raises, you know, things of that sort. We've got to reverse and really look at, we talk about taxes and how the people with the egg, classification, immensely big tax increase. And it's not only family that you respond to, it's 12, 20 other people that have these concerns. So when you talk about taxpayers, there's no question that we have to look at how we are affecting our environment, especially our marine
20 seconds.
sources, and provide all such. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Wow. Okay, that was awesome. You know what? We've gone through all the races. We've had under 2 hours, so our viewers are not going to be saying, "Hey, we took too long." And I want to congratulate every single person who participated in this webinar. I think you all showed why. Same thing. We all love Maui. We love Hawaii. We love Maui, specifically Maui County. And I really am so grateful that we have people who are willing to put themselves up for election, to serve and to do the best that they can do. It's all we can do. But with God's help, all things are possible. And, I'm a person of faith, and I believe in that. I believe in all of you. I thank you very much. I thank our viewers. I thank Akaku. And I thank our dear Lord for giving us this opportunity to do what as best we could under these incredible conditions, to have an opportunity to be seen by those people who haven't seen you, to be heard by those who haven't heard you, and hopefully be able to make a good informed decision when they vote. God bless you all, and thank you, and aloha.
God bless you.
Aloha, thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Great job.
Thanks, Joe.
Aloha, everyone.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Dan, Akaku, and Chivo, and everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Dan.
Mahalo to all.
Mahalo. God bless.